Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be reviewing the EasySMX X05 gaming controller. This gaming controller is a budget gaming controller which has Hall effect joysticks and triggers. It also supports connectivity with your PC, phone and Switch. It's available on the EasySMX website and Amazon for under $30. In this review, we will go through its specifications, build quality, features, and see its actual performance while playing games. So let's start this review with a quick unboxing. So inside the box, you will find a USB Type-C cable. It's not a braided cable. You cannot expect it to be braided at this budget point. This cable can be used for playing games on the computer using the wired mode. And in addition to this, it will be used for charging this controller. They have also provided rubber thumb grips for playing games. I hope they are comfortable and serve their purpose. Usually I don't like using thumb grips. They usually get off when I'm playing games. Maybe I use the controller pretty much harshly. It also comes with the 2.4 GHz wireless dongle, which is used for playing games using the wireless mode of this controller. In the box, you will also find a manual, and reading the manual is highly recommended because there are so many functions of this controller that you can only use if you read this manual. Without reading it, you will not know which buttons to press and which features are accessible using which button combinations. So knowing about these combinations is highly recommended. Otherwise, you will not be able to use the important functions and features of this controller. I was not expecting this controller to feel premium in hands at this price point. Good quality plastics have been used and it feels almost like the Xbox controller. It's a little bit lighter than the Xbox controller, but the overall feeling is good. It has a 750 mAh battery and I don't know the time how much it will last while playing games. We will see. The buttons are not mechanical, but the feeling is good. I really like the button feeling. And the triggers have a response time of 0.1 milliseconds. They are Hall effect triggers. The joysticks are a bit too loose to my liking. I'm used to having a bit of tightness in the joysticks. M button at the front, and the D-pad is a plus sign one. It's not circular. It has some mushy feeling to it, but you will get used to it. You cannot expect too much at this price. Overall, it's good for its price and the quality of the controller is good. It's nothing rattling inside it. It feels solid and it feels like it's sturdy. Usually controllers at this price point feel shaky and there are parts moving inside them, but this one feels solid in hands. There was a bit of an issue getting these thumb grips onto the joysticks, but I managed to do them, but they were getting off again and again. On this controller, you will not find any audio jacks, you will not get any additional buttons on the backside, there are no trigger locks or anything to adjust the tightness of the joysticks. This controller was detected by my computer instantly when I used the 2.4 GHz dongle for connecting it to my computer. There are RGB lights behind the joysticks and the power button, but there are no lights inside the XYAB buttons. You can adjust the vibration to 5 different levels. You can also change the RGB effects and light colors. In addition to this, you can set the turbo settings of different buttons, and you can also adjust the dead zone setting of the joysticks. You can adjust all these features using the M button with combination with different buttons of this controller. And all of these combinations are written clearly in the manual. I used the X input software for testing the polling rate and latency of this controller. First, I tested the wireless mode of this controller and the polling rate and latency was 4.6 milliseconds and 213 Hz. I was expecting this from this budget controller using the wireless mode, but it is not that bad. There are many controllers that cost much more and have even lower polling rate and higher latency. And then I tested the polling rate and latency with the wired mode, and the latency was 1.2 seconds and the polling rate 883 Hz. I was really impressed. This was almost like a high-end controller performance with almost 1000 Hz polling rate and a 1 millisecond response time. I am really impressed, but we will see how this actually impacts the gameplay while playing games ahead in this video. I also tested the different buttons of this controller on this gamepad tester, and I was satisfied by the performance of this controller, first using the wired mode and then using the wireless mode. There was no noticeable latency or any lag between the button presses and the actions on the screen. Now I will show you the performance of this controller while playing different games. In this first clip, you will see me playing Taken 8 using this controller, and I am pretty much satisfied by the performance of this controller. The button feels good, and this controller has some reasonable amount of vibration as well. I chose to play using the wired mode because it has a 1.2 millisecond response time while playing with the wired mode. So I usually choose the best mode for reviewing controllers. I did not feel any lag, delay or latency while playing this game, and this controller made this gameplay smooth and made it look easier than it is. Now let's see the performance of this controller while playing Tomb Raider, which is basically an action platformer. And controllers should be good for playing such games because the jumps really matter, and if there is a delay or lag, the jump will not work as you are supposed it to work, and your character will drop into the crevice or eventually die. So while playing Tomb Raider, having a good controller really matters, and I did not notice any lag or latency while playing this game as well. The gameplay was smooth, button presses felt good, and I am satisfied. Here in this particular area of this game, I will like to demonstrate any latency or lag. Usually if there is any lag or latency, it really shows up here. And let's see, is there any lag or not? I will move Lara left and right and show you is there any latency or not, or any delay between the button presses and the action on the screen. As you can see, there is no noticeable lag or delay. This shows that the controller is doing its job as it is supposed to do it. And I can easily recommend this controller for playing platforming games. At this price point, you cannot get a better controller for playing platforming games, in my opinion. Now let's see the performance of this controller while playing a shooting game. Here I'm playing Destiny 2. I was a little bit apprehensive about using this controller for playing a shooter game as it has no trigger locks or tightening of the joysticks, but anyhow I tried it and I was a bit satisfied by the performance of this controller. Actually, I was not expecting it to be such easy to use it for playing this shooting game, as I'm not a fan of playing shooting games using gaming pads or gaming controllers. I usually play games like these using my keyboard and mouse. Anyways, the trigger, the aiming, the controls felt good using this controller as well. So in my opinion, if you are on a budget and you want a controller for playing first-person shooting games, this controller can be suitable for you. And I used this controller for playing a racing game. The car handled well, the controlling was easy, the trigger felt good. This controller really performed well above my expectations. I was not expecting it to perform that great. Usually cheap controllers have so much delay, the latency, and the buttons feel wonky, but this controller was solid and it had a good polling rate and latency while playing games using the wired mode, and the wireless mode was okay as well. So if you are in the market looking for a budget gaming controller which is under $30, I would highly recommend you getting this controller. And this was all about today's review of the EasySMX X05 gaming controller. If you liked this video, a thumbs up will be really appreciated. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Till next time, have a good one.